Hello folks, and welcome back to another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. How is everyone doing today? In this video, I'd like to go over the details of AGL Trunks Teen, the one from the beginning of the Android Cell Saga, which you can see his details on the left side of the screen surrounding my profile picture. You can see the pre-EZA there, and let's be perfectly honest, it's bad. It's bad. So this EZA has been one of the most anticipated EZAs of this quarter of the year. Let's be honest. And Dokkan has pulled April Fools out of the hat for this EZA is the only preface that I feel like giving here. And let's hop in to the details of the EZA. So first off, they went and increased the HP from 130 to 170%. And that is already a bad sign. There's no 180% there. Then we have the passive. Now the passive starts off okay. When you have so many things happening in the basic effect, it usually leads to a good grounding for the character and a good baseline of what the character will be able to do. But if we go into this here, yeah, keep +2 and 150% attack and defense, up from 100% attack and defense and no key. High chance of performing a critical hit, so that's a 50% chance. You either will or you won't. No indicator as to how often that would proc or whatever. Then launches an additional attack that has a 50% chance of becoming a super attack, versus the launches an additional attack and a 70% chance of launching an additional attack, which is a huge upgrade. Let's be honest. Now he has the potential to actually super attack instead of doing a regular normal. Then a great chance of launching an additional attack that has a 50% chance of becoming a super attack. So he has a guaranteed additional attack that has a 50% chance of becoming a super attack, and then a 70% chance of launching an additional attack that has a 50% chance of becoming a super attack. Then changes physical key spheres to AGL. And a high chance of evading the enemy's attack, which is 50%. Very nice. Yeah, not for the current content that we need for Android Cell Saga missions. Let's be honest, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. If that was 50% damage reduction, this would be a whole different story. Okay. Then, when attacking, 150% attack and defense, 50% more than before. And then we can skip this part here, and I'll come back a few lines, but let's skip to this part where every time the character performs 3 attacks in battle, launches an additional attack that has a great chance of becoming a super attack up to once per turn. That didn't change at all. Dokkan, you went to sleep in the middle of doing this. This makes 0 sense. And that's the extent of his kit currently. Previously, 100% attack and defense. When attacking, 100% attack and defense. Guaranteed additional attack. 70% of launching an additional attack. No chance of supers in there. And every time the character performs 3 attacks in battle, launches an additional attack that has a 70% chance of becoming a super attack up to once within a turn. Minor upgrades, 50% chance to dodge when it's barely usable currently for the missions. Then the key sphere changing, lovely. Almost the entire Android Cell Saga team is key hungry. And he now has a chance, 50% chance on each of the additional passive, basic effect passive additional attacks to be a super attack. I am extremely underwhelmed. Extremely underwhelmed. Okay, there's more to this passive. I'm not going to discredit him yet. For every attack performed, so you have two chances, you have 2 guaranteed attacks in a turn. 2 guaranteed attacks in a turn. Another 5% chance of evading, so that's now up to 60%. Supposing there was no AoE before he gets to attack, and you don't put him in slot 1 if there is a attack before he gets to attack. Lovely. Then for every super attack performed, there is another 5% chance of evading the enemy's attack within a turn. So you get your first super attack and attack. So you're sitting at 60%. Then a guaranteed additional attack. So you're up to 65, which has a 50% chance of going to 70. And then you have a 70% chance of launching an additional attack, which may bring that up to 70 or 75. And a possibility of it then going to 80 if that's a super attack. Then, if those 3 attacks occur, you have an additional attack, now bringing it to 85% at the max, that has a great chance of becoming a super attack, which then might make that dodge chance go to 90%. Sounds good, doesn't it? Well, we get 60% guaranteed if he's not sealed once he attacks, because if he gets, a super attack, which you're probably going to want to do with them. Then 2 guaranteed additional attacks, no super attack. Remember, we're doing the minimal. Now he's sitting at 70%. And then an additional attack that's now sitting at 75. And that's if he procs that 70% chance of launching an additional attack. A 70% chance in many endgame modes is where you feel it more when that doesn't proc. There's that. Wow. Then, when receiving an attack, gains an additional 150% defense. You still don't want to tell him to tank anything in slot 1 before supering. You really don't. And then when there is another Entrusted Will or Android Cell Saga category ally on the team, all allies gain 1 key and 50% attack and defense. And this is actually big. And this is slightly redeeming the high convolutedness of maybe will possibly half fully somewhere along the way get to him being a dodge character when many events now cancel dodge. This is not what people were looking for when it comes to the new missions in Red Zone for the Android Cell Saga. Let's be honest, this is not the right way a kit should be rolled out for these events. This is still putting pressure on people to summon for Android 16. And I highly recommend just skipping it because none of these missions are time sensitive. So we will be getting more units that will EZA or be released that can help with this. And people might be able to get 16 when he's featured on another banner when we got Dokkan tickets, special day tickets to go after that. So let's go and see what the super attack does. The super attack now greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn and causes immense damage to the enemy. Okay. This is only the first part. Now I'm going to switch out the left side and come back with the second part. So, as we know, activation conditions and effects of active skills never change on EZA. We know still that it's going to take 6 or more attacks to get to transformation here. And remember, he's only guaranteed 2 attacks per turn. He's not guaranteed more. Of course, with a max additional build, that may go up, but again, still is a rather low chance there for the hidden potential to proc if the third one, part of the third attack, the second additional, the 70% chance, doesn't proc. And remember, the dodge does not help, per se. So, the details are on the left of the Super Saiyan Trunks version on the left side. So, if we go now to the passive, and there is a lot here to take in, okay? So 100% attack and defense is now 200% attack and defense and 2 key. The 70% chance of performing a critical hit is the same, and then you have launches an additional attack that has a 70% chance of becoming a super attack, a 70% chance of launching an additional attack that has a 70% chance of becoming a super attack. Again with this nonsense. Again with this nonsense. And then it changes key spheres physical to AGL. Same as the previous. High chance of evading the enemy's attack, which is 50% chance to dodge, and great chance, 70% chance of stunning the attacked enemy for 2 turns. When can you stun an enemy in like red zone? It's nearly impossible. They're all like immune to it. And then with an AGL key sphere obtained, has a guaranteed additional super attack. Oh, we're getting somewhere here. We're getting somewhere here. When a type key sphere obtained, AGL excluded, great chance of launching an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack. A high chance of launching an additional attack that has a 70% chance of becoming a super attack. It's been a long time since I was on a Cecil. I am flummoxed here. Okay, now we go back into the passive similarities. So when attacking with 12 or more, Q was 100% attack and defense and 1 time only critical hit, 1 time only critical hit, and 200% attack and defense. Then completely doing away with what you see on the screen when the target enemy is in the attack down or defense down or stun or sealed state, which I fully approve whatsoever. But let's see what happens there. And nothing's replacing that. Just a bunch of nonsense. So, and we have for every attack performed 5% chance of dodging, and for every super attack performed another 5% chance of dodging. So if we do calculate this right, so we have with an AGL key spheres 3 guaranteed additional super attacks, which you're now going from 50% chance to dodge to 80% chance to dodge. And if you proc a hidden potential or the great chance of launching an additional attack that has a 70% chance of becoming a super attack, but it's not a super attack, you're now sitting at 90% chance to dodge. But this necessitates you attacking first. Again, AoEs and slot 1, if there is a bunch of attacks beforehand in red zone, especially the early red zone, you're not getting very far, unfortunately. Now, there is somebody who posted numbers. Take a look at that shortly. Let's just finish off over here. When receiving an attack, 200% defense. And when there is another Entrusted Will or Android Cell Saga category ally on the team, all allies gain 2 key and 60% attack and defense. Very good. That part Very good. And then the super attack goes from greatly raising attack and defense for 1 turn to greatly raising attack and defense for 4 turns with immense damage to the enemy. Now we're going to go into the numbers here that this person posted. If we look here, Luca Pigeon, reposted by Proton10. If we look here at the numbers, it looks good, right? Except you don't want to put him in, in a position where he's going to take a hit first, right? Before attacking. Unsupported defense, 570,900. And 40% supported defense, which you can get more, of course. 647. Because if you have a double trunks lead, then you're going to get like 60%. Then again, this is on a 220, I believe. He's got, yeah, the Gohan as the 220 and the Goku as a 220 as well. So you're going to end up less running these two as a lead anyway, so I don't recommend it, regardless of what I said before, that you can get higher than that. Of course, there are better supports than 40%. But if you look at the attack, without 3 attacks, unsupported, is 57 million, and that is very big. I mean, of course, opponents have damage reduction and stuff, and defense and whatnot. So, those numbers will look a little different, of course, in an event. But once he gets his 3 attacks, which I assume those are super attacks because I'm looking here at the passive, and he doesn't get any more attack on just attacking. Only if he supers does he end up with some extra attack. And after attacking, unsupported defense, nearly 2 million defense. That's okay, honestly. But I would rather take 70% damage reduction than 90% chance to dodge in this case. I'm gonna be straight up honest with everybody that the events nowadays just, the red zone is not forgiving if you don't proc that dodge. And again, 90% chance if they're nullifying dodge, you're totally lost anyway. And then supported defense 2.2 and 2.3 with 3 attacks, unsupported, and 2.6 supported. Then we go into more complicated numbers. We have here turn 1 with an AGL orb, 167 million. Turn 1 non-AGL orb, 160. Turn 2 plus AGL orb, 187. Turn 2 plus non-AGL orb, 178. This is non-supported attack per turn. And then when you're talking attack per turn supported, you're talking anywhere between 15 and 20 million more damage, which is crazy. Crazy attack. Then we have the defense. Again, before attacking, 800. Before attacking turn 2 with an AGL orb, 2.3. Turn 2 plus with a non-AGL orb is 2.2. I don't know why that number would be lower, but it may be reliant on the additional super attacks. Then, if we're talking supported defense, 900,000, 2.5, nearly 2.6, and nearly 2.5. Again, this is before attacking. And if I'm being honest, yes, he's getting that 200% defense in his kit when getting attacked. So that might be factored in here. I don't know. And if it's not, that changes things. Because 200% is somewhere around 7.4 or something million defense. Who knows? So that could be way better than imagined. And then after attacking, turn 1 AGL orb, turn 1 non-AGL orb, blah blah and blah. Just whatever. Again, after attacking is not really what I'm worried about. I'm worried about him getting attacked beforehand and not dodging, or in an event where there's no dodge. Then we have the 55% numbers, and the 55% numbers are a significant drop, nearly 20 million of a drop. 77 and that's 54. Yeah, that's even more. That's 23 million with unsupported. And the numbers are significantly reduced. 167 turn 1 AGL orb versus 124 or 123. It's highly convoluted, but from these numbers we can infer that this is a solid attacking EZA, which may or may not be helpful. Let's be honest, it may or may not be helpful in these events where you need to do more damage to avoid getting hit and taking more damage. But if we're talking about the amount of damage necessary, I don't know, because there is one thing that we have to take a look at, and this is a attack per turn. APT is attack per turn, not per attack. Okay? There is... You gotta remember that. And I admit, I did not think of that most of the time here, and wondering where I could point this out. And yeah, this is attack per turn, so if you're doing 5 attacks per turn, you're only doing about a 23 million attack stat, 25 million attack stat each super attack. It's not. It's not. It's not really that good. It really is not that good. I mean, after attacking, yeah, he's defensive enough, right? So barring some of these, like, later stages in Festival of Battles and some red zones where, like the Broly red zone, where the domain just makes him do so much more damage. Well, again, this is another EZA. We will have to see just how well he performs in action versus, you know, on paper. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I am not holding up much enthusiasm for this, the way this kid is playing out. It could be a lot simpler and a lot sturdier. It's built on way too many ifs, and I'm not really a fan of the dodge so much anymore. Yes, granted, in seriously serious all-out battles, we've had pretty much every chance to dodge was a path to victory, but if I'm being honest, not for red zone. Not for red zone. That's a bit of a misnomer. Well, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you all so much for coming to watch the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you have any thoughts, please let me know in the comment section down below. I, for one, am very reserved on my judgment for this character. I do not like the way this kid plays out. The one thing I do like about this is that he's getting defense when getting attacked. Although he still has a ton of defense stuck behind attacking. For no reason. Thank you all. I really appreciate each and every one of you for coming to watch the video. If you are new here, if you haven't already done so, please do consider subscribing. I have rambled on way too much here. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.